Hello and welcome to day 2 of the Olympic Oval finale. Up on the docket this morning is the men's 5,000 meter. We have 21 quartets of 5,000 meter. Starting right away with Ted-Jan Blumen and Jordan Belchos. Ted-Jan Blumen, the world record holder in the 10,000 meter. He is certainly capable of a world record here in the 5K. Let's see what he can do. His opener, 18.9. Belchos, 19.3. Jordan Belchos coming off a career year. Excellent performances in Korea at the World Single Distance Championships. As these guys will come through with 11 laps remaining, lap times. Blumen, 29.5. 29.5 for Belchos as well. And Ted-Jan setting himself up for a big draft on that backstretch. So wily move by Ted-Jan Blumen. As they will come through, 10 laps remaining. Lap times, Blumen, 29.2, negative split, 29.6 for Belchos. Keep an eye on those lap times. It's the key to enjoying these long distance races. As they come through, lap times. Blumen, positive split, 29.6, 29.7 for Belch. As Jordan Belchos had to swing out wide out of that corner to avoid a conflict in the backstretch. As Blumen carving out a 1 second advantage over Belchos. As they come through 1,800 meters, lap times 30.0 for Blumen, Belchos 30.1. Both skaters decidedly off of their personal best paces. Blumen, 2,200 meters down. Back. Belchos is now under 30 seconds, 29.86, 30.1 for Blumen. So a good duel here between these two skaters. Jordan Belchos is trying to challenge Blumen for the lead in this race. So they come through again. Another 30.1 for Blumen, 30.1 for Belchos as well. Jordan Belchos' personal best in the 5,000 meter is a 6:16.92. He set that about a month ago in Gangneung, Korea at the World Singles. Lap times 30.0 for Blumen, negative split, 30.1 for Belchos. As these guys approach the crucial point of this race with 4 laps remaining, Blumen turning it on, 30.0. Belchos, 30.3. So very flat and level lap times for Ted-Jan Blumen as he almost goes down going into that corner. He's recovered though. Let's see if he lost any time on this lap. Ted-Jan Blumen. Lap time, 30.2, so that slip may have cost him a few tenths. See if he can respond on this next lap. Belchos, 30.9, as Ted-Jan Blumen will go over the top of Jordan Belchos. And as they come around the corner, they will have 2 laps to go. So 2 laps to go for Ted-Jan Blumen and Jordan Belchos. 31.4 for Blumen. 30.9 for Belchos. Both athletes letting the lap time slip a little bit there. And 1 lap remaining. Bell lap. Ted-Jan Blumen's lap time, 30.6. So he brought it back down. Belchos, 31.1. At this point of the race, those legs have got to be hurting. But what both athletes do so well is they maintain their technique, even at the end of the race. Allows them to carry their speed as they come down the finishing stretch. And Ted-Jan Blumen will finish with a final time of 6:20.70, 6:22.99 for Jordan Belchos. Up next in our second pair, 2 athletes from the Netherlands. Marwin Talsma in the inner lane and Marcel Bosker in the outer lane. Marwin Talsma is a junior skater, and he will be challenging for the junior world record here this morning at the Olympic Oval. These skaters are off their opening 200 meters, trying to build up speed. So pay attention to Marwin Talsma in the inner lane with the white armband. Opening splits, 19.5 for Talsma, 19.1 for Bosker. The junior world record in the 5,000 meters held by Havard Bako from Norway. That was set way back in 2005, right here in Calgary. The time to beat is 6:18.93. Opening split, 29.4, 29.7. So Talsma right on the world record pace. A lot of racing to go here. Talsma taking a slight lead. They'll come around. 10 laps to go. 29.2, negative split. 29.9 for Bosker. He's about a half second under the world record pace right now. Marwin Talsma and Marcel Bosker on a good race so far. Under 29s the whole way. 29.6 for Talsma. Bosker 29.6 as well. Set up a big draft here for Talsma. He is 1 second under the world record pace through this point of the race. Marwin Talsma chasing the junior world record. 29.7 for Talsma. 29.8 for Bosker. He's still on pace. And Talsma trying to stay low, keep his feet driving. World Junior record was set in 2005. Very few top-level juniors get the chance to race in Calgary or in Salt Lake City. That's why that record has stood for so long. So Talsma's lap time, 30.1, so he's letting it slip a little bit and see if he can bring it back. 29.7 for Bosker. Still has half a second on the junior world record. So they come through. 6 laps remaining, about halfway through this race. Falling off the world record pace. He's 1/10 behind. Let's see if he can respond. He has to bring this next lap down. This is Marvin Talsma chasing Havard Bako's world junior record. Marcel Bosker now pulling ahead. Still under 30 seconds. Lap time 29.6 for Bosker. Negative split. Talsma 30.5. So Talsma falling off that world junior record. Marcel Bosker so far on a great race. Through 3,400 meters, still under 30 seconds, 29.8. 30.8 for Talsma. As these skaters come around, they will have 3 laps remaining. 1,200 meters to go for Marcel Bosker and Marvin Talsma. See those lap times. 30.1, that's Marcel Bosker's first lap time above 30 seconds. So important that he doesn't let that slip now. The last few laps are the most dangerous time in the 5K. It's when any mental lapse could cost you seconds. Bosker with 2 laps to go, 30.5. Talsma, 31.6. So Marcel Bosker chasing Ted-Jan Blumen's time, which was a 6:20.7. He's just over a second under that right now. See what he can do in this last lap. Bell lap for Marcel Bosker. 31.7 his lap time. Marvin Talsma, 31.5. So right now, the race is between Marcel Bosker and Ted-Jan Blumen. As Bosker has 100 meters to go in this 5K. He's chasing a time of 6:20.7, and he won't do it. 6:22.38. Still a very good time for him. Just a hair off his personal best. Talsma missing the junior world record. As we have a look at our next race, this is our first quartet, so 2 pairs will be racing at the same time. First pair features Livio Wenger from Switzerland and Stefan Wapels from Manitoba. He'll be followed a half lap later by Ben Donnelly from Ontario and Alec Janssens from BC. So 3 Speed Skating Canada supported athletes in this race. Swierpelts, Donnelly, and Johansson. As we see the opening splits for all 4 athletes. 19-1 for Wenger, Swierpelts, 19-7. 18-9 for Ben Donnelly. So Ben Donnelly really getting it going at the start of this 5K. Alec Jansen's the only 20-second opener. As Donnelly and Jansen's come through, 10 laps or 11 laps remaining for them. Let's see what lap times all 4 athletes are settling into. Donnelly and Jansen's under 30, so 29.8, 29.6. Via Wenger and Swierpelts in the 30s. As we see our second pair come through now. See what kind of pace they're going to set. Jansen's 30.4, Donnelly 30.3. So a fairly well-matched race between all 4 athletes right now. Our first pair is coming through right now. Their lap times, 30.6, 31.3 for Swierpelts. So Wenger, every lap has been in the low to mid O's. Swierpelts finding that low 31 pace. Donnelly and Jansen's right on pace with Wenger. Mid O's. As the skaters switch lanes every lap. Even though there's 4 skaters on the ice at the same time, they are technically individual time trials. So pay attention to their lap times. Wenger and Donnelly bringing it down now. The Via Wenger just skated his lap. 29.9, negative split. Get a look at Wenger and Swierpelts on the backstretch. So the Via Wenger on a great race right now. He's 3 seconds back of the pace set by Tedjan Blumen. Then he comes through another 29.9. Donnelly and Jansen still in the mid O's. They're doing a good job. So they come through. Very steady race for Ben Donnelly and Alec Jansen's. You see them on the backstretch. When they come around, they will have 5 laps remaining. Wenger and Swierpelts, 5 laps to go. Swierpelts fading a bit, 32.6. Wenger, though, negative splitting again. Let's see if he can do that on his next lap. His 3,000 meter split was a 350.67. That's a very respectable 3K time. Another 29-second lap. As we look at Donnelly and Jansen's on that backstretch. They will come around with 4 laps to go. Ben Donnelly leading the way. His lap time, negative split, 30.2. Ben Donnelly is looking inspired here. As the Via Wenger still keeping those lap times down. Back into the 30s, 30.0. Donnelly and Jansen's will have Stefan Swierpelts ahead of them. They have an athlete to chase. Be a big advantage sometimes in these quadded 5Ks. Donnelly will come through, 30.2 his lap time. And he is keeping pace with Levio Wenger. He's about a second back. Let's see if he can close that gap in the later portion of this race. Wenger chasing the time set by Ted-Jan Blumen. Let's have a look at Ben Donnelly come through. Another negative split, 30.0. He is on a great race. Ben Donnelly in the 5K of his life right now as we hear the bell for Levio Wenger. 1 lap remaining, 30.9. He was challenging Ted-Jan Blumen, but he's falling off the pace right now in the last 2 laps. Ben Donnelly. Here's the bell. 1 lap remaining. Another low O, 30.2. Jansen's 31.5. So Ben Donnelly on his last lap is chasing the time set by Levio Wenger, who finished his 5K with a 6:23.42. Great time for Wenger. Ben Donnelly will come through his finishing time, 6:23.09. Jansen 6:30.51 and Waples 6:45.78. So that is a 5-second personal best for Ben Donnelly in that last race. Matching the time set by his teammates, Blumen and Belchos. As we look at our next race, this is Emery Layman and Denny Morrison in the first pair, and Graham Fish and Kahanbai Alamasi. So Layman and Morrison racing in the white and red armbands respectively. Their opening splits 19-1, 19-5 for Morrison. Opening splits for Fish and Alamasi, 19-7 and 19-5. So let's see what sort of pace Emery Layman and Denny Morrison will be setting here in this race. Denny Morrison under 30 seconds. 30.6 for Layman. Fish and Kahanbai, low 30s. Denny Morrison slowing down a little bit after that first sub 30 lap. Layman 31.0. Fish dropping under 30 seconds, 29.9. Graham Fish, a medalist in this distance at the World Junior Championships this season. He's a rising star on the long distance scene in Canada. His lap time dropping a little bit, 30.7. 30.0 for Kahanbai. So tight race so far between all 4 skaters in this quad. Denny Morrison goes over the top of his pair, Layman. They are now on the same pace, though. Let's see whether Layman has an answer for Denny Morrison. Graham Fish still on those low O's. Kahanbai keeping pace. They're a good pair, too. Graham Fish is like an Energizer bunny. He just keeps going. You can't put him down. He'll slow down on one lap and speed up on the next. It's good quality to have in a long distance skater. Fitness is one thing, but resilience can matter a lot. Fish and Kahanbai still in the low O's. Morrison and Layman picking it up a little bit. They're pushing each other. Morrison will go over the top of Layman again. Layman will get a nice draft on that backstretch. As Fish and Kahanbai come through, negative splitting, 30.3. They are playing off of each other here. Morrison and Layman, another negative split. So all athletes doing very well through the middle part of this race. As all skaters have 4 laps remaining. Graham Fish, his personal best is a 6:31.41. For reference, that is an average of 31.0 per lap. So Graham Fish so far throughout this 5K has been under that pace, so he's setting himself up for a big personal best if he can keep it together in the last 4 laps. Morrison and Layman still fighting hard. Layman picking it up a little bit, 30.3, Morrison 30.9. As Kahanbai now pulling away from Fish. See if Fish has an answer. He's still below 31, setting himself up for a personal best. This is Layman and Morrison neck and neck. This will be a good finish between. There's some good 5Ks here in this 4th quartet. Fish has dropped above 31 seconds. So has Morrison. Layman still keeping those lap times down. Kahanbai as well. What kind of fight do these guys have at the end of the race? Bell lap for Emery Layman and Denny Morrison. Layman 29.9. He brought it down at the end there. 32.2 for Morrison. As we hear the bell for Fish and Kahanbai. Kahanbai 31.0. 31.4 for Fish. Graham Fish is chasing the Canadian junior record here. He has to keep this lap time down as Layman finished with a 6:26.57, 6:32.01 for Denny Morrison. Kahanbai 6:24.97. Fish will finish a final time of 6:29.16. And he fell as he crossed the line, totally exhausted. As Alamasi just set a Chinese junior record with that time. Graham Fish narrowly missing the Canadian junior record with that time. Still a personal best though. That's his first race under 6:30. As we look at our leaderboard, Ted Jan Blumen set the time to beat 6:20.70. Marcel Bosco is behind him, 6:22.38. Belchos, 6:22.99. Ben Donnelly was the 3rd fastest Canadian, 6:23.09. Marwan Talsma, who was chasing the World Junior record, Skated a 6:25.47. So a whole bunch of times under 6:30 here this morning at the Olympic Oval finale. Some fast races. These next skaters will be licking their lips knowing that the ice is quick. In our next quartet, we have a Dutch skater in the inner lane of the first pair, Lex Dykstra. He's racing Jeffrey Swierpelts from the USA. They'll be followed in the next pair by Hamish Black from BC and Magnus Haugli from Norway. Oh, and slight correction, not only did Alamasi Kahanbai set a Chinese national junior record, it was also a national senior record. As all four skaters in this next quartet are underway. Lex Dykstra, Jeffrey Swierpelts, Hamish Black, and Magnus Haugli. If you get lost, pay attention to their armbands. It indicates which lane they started in. See the colored square next to their name at the bottom of your screen. The skaters wear armbands on their upper right arm. As we get a look at Black and Haugli coming around. So Dykstra and Swierpelts settling in now. Mid-O's. Black and Haugli, quick opening splits, 30.0 for Black, Haugli 29.6. It's always interesting to see the first couple laps and see what sort of pace the athletes are trying to set. Some athletes will skate extra fast in the first couple laps, hoping that that speed will carry them through the rest of the race. Sometimes it's a little ambitious, though, and they pay by the end of it. As Haugli setting up a nice draft on that backstretch. The best 5,000 meter skaters will set up drafts every second lap. They will time their race so that they can use 100 meters of draft every once in a while during the race. You wouldn't think it, but it makes a big difference by the end. As Dykstra settling into the low O's, Swierpelts, low ones. So Black and Haugli now have settled back into the 31 seconds after their ambitious start. So Hamish Black is chasing a personal best of 6:37.89. And Magnus Haugli is chasing a personal best of I don't seem to have it. As you look at Dykstra and Swierpelts come through, 30.1, 31.4 for Swierpelts. So Black and Haugli on a good race here. They are neck and neck, trading leads. In the first pair, it's all Lex Dykstra. He's going to see that pair ahead of him. It'll be like a rabbit after a carrot. As we see Black and Haugli come through. They have 5 laps to go. Magnus Haugli starting to pull away a little bit. 31-0, 31-5 for Black. As Dykstra comes through, 31-0. He is on a good race right now. Swierpelts, 32-5. As Haugli comes through another 31-second lap, 31-6, 31-7 for Black. Lex Dykstra letting those lap times slip a little bit. 31-4, 32-5 for Swierpelts. Now as all skaters now have 2 or 3 laps remaining, we'll see what sort of energy they've saved in the tank. Black 32-3, still in 31s for Magnus Haugli. Lex Dykstra holding his lap times under 31. So the start of his race was maybe a little ambitious for Lex Dykstra. Same with Swierpelts, 33-8 was his last lap time. You have to be careful in the 5K. When the rails come off, they can really come off. As Haugli comes through, another 31, 31-9, 32-5 for Black. Bell lap for Lex Dykstra and Jeffrey Swierpelts. Lap and a half to go for Black and Haugli. And Lex Dykstra is on pace for right around a 6:30. And he's going to skate hard to the line, swinging an arm. Lex Dykstra will finish with a final time of 6:30.15. Just missing that sub 6:30 mark. As Jeffrey Swierpelts is fading hard, Magnus Haugli passing him at the very end of that race. 6:34.81 was his final time. 6:53.56 for Swierpelts. Black, 6:38.82, just missing his personal best by 1 second. Lex Dykstra will be disappointed he did not break that 6:30 barrier. Not too disappointed though, it was a 4-second personal best. As we have a look at our next race, another 4 skaters. Alan Dahl Johansson from Norway in the inner lane, and Bin Zhao from China in the outer. They'll be followed by Zibo Kui from China and Ian Quinn from the United States. As Johansson and Bin skate high 19-second openers. Same for Quinn and Kui. So Zibo Kui is chasing a personal best of 6:41.75. He settled into a 30.5 lap time. Johansson just a bit faster, 30.1. So that was Zhao Bin, 30.5. And he's positive split it a little bit, 30.6, 30.4 for Johansson. So those skaters settling in. Quee started his first 2 laps under 30 seconds, so high 29 laps for him. If he maintains that pace, he is on pace for a great personal best. Ian Quinn, 31.0. Ian Quinn is chasing a 6:34.98. Keep an eye on those lap times to see if he can do it. So through 1,400 meters, so far Zibo Quee leading the way. Lap times all in the high 29s, low 30s, as Johansson and Zhao Bin are struggling to find a pace. They started in the O's and they have now dropped into the high 1s and low 2s. Ian Quinn steadily putting together a very even race in the 31s. Quee now into the 31s. As we get a look at Zibo Quee entering that backstretch. This is Johansson leading Zhao Bin, low 31. So he stemmed the bleeding. Zhao Bin really letting it go, 33.3 his lap time. And Quee and Quinn in the 31s now. So Quinn doing a good job of maintaining those steady laps. His legs will thank him at the end of the race. Those last 2 laps, he may have some extra energy. As they come through again, still in those 31s. He has positive split by a 1/10 for the last 3 laps. It's a worrying trend as Johansson will come through 31.4. So Alan Dahl Johansson doing a good job as well through the middle half of this race. His 3,000 meter split 3:57. Ian Quinn has woken up, negative split, back to the mid 1s. Zibo Quee into the 32s as Alan Dahl Johansson still in the 31s, doing a good job. Zhao Bin really letting it slide, 34.4. This will give Ian Quinn some extra motivation as he sees Quee in the pair ahead of him. Someone to chase down the straightaways. Johansson still under 31. It's a good lap time for him. Ian Quinn, another negative split, 31.3. Quee with a negative split as well. So can Quinn negative split again? As Johansson had a big drop there, 33.0. Quee, another negative split, 31.0 for Ian Quinn. He is doing a great job through the middle of this race as he's going to get a little bit of a draft as he catches up to and blows right by Zhao Bin. As Johansson positive splitting now into the 33s. Quinn, who had a string of 3 laps in a row with negative splits, has now dipped back up into the 31s. No matter, he is almost finished as Dahl Johansson hears the bell. 1 lap to go for him. He's in the 34s now. Zhao Bin in the 35s. Ian Quinn 1 lap remaining. Still in the 31s, 31.9. as Johansson is chasing a personal best here. 6:45.29 is his PB, and he does it 6:44.78, just under his personal best. Ian Quinn skating hard to the line. He had a great race. Final time 6:37.73. He misses his personal best by 3 seconds. Zibo Kui 6:41.06. That's a personal best for him by half a second. As our next pair is now underway, this is Hayden Mayor in the white armband and Takuya Tuju in the outer lane with the red armband. They're followed by Shiwai Wang in the yellow armband and Jake Weidman in the blue armband. So in the first pair, it's Mayor and Tuju. Second pair, Wang and Weidman. Opening splits of 19-0 for Tuju, Mayor 20.0, 19.6 for Shi Wai Wang, and Weidman 19.4. Jake Weidman's personal best is a 6:41.61. Hayden Mayor 6:41.53. So keep an eye on those split times for both of those skaters. Should be a good race between the two of them, even though they're in different pairs. As Tuju's pulling ahead of Mayor in the early part of this race. He's skating low O's. Mayor in the mid ones. Wang and Weidman in the O's so far after 2 laps. A lot of skaters will divide the 5K into 3 sections. The first 4 laps, the middle 4 laps, and the final 4 laps. At this point in the race, which is that sort of initial 4-lap section, skaters will look for easy speed. These are the free laps where the legs don't hurt yet. You try and set a pace that you'll be able to maintain for the rest of the race. All these skaters with about 8 laps to go are approaching that middle section of the race where the athlete really has to start to focus more on building their corners, maintaining their technique, keeping the feet moving. In the last 4 laps, they just try to hold on. As we see our skaters still going about a third of the way through the race. Keep an eye on those lap times, whether they're speeding up or slowing down or staying steady. Weidman on a good race so far. All high O's and low ones. Mayor in the mid ones. Very consistent. Tuju started in the low O's but is now dipped into the high ones. Wang in the high ones. As we see Weidman come through. Weidman and Wang, 6 laps remaining. Weidman, another low 1, 31.1 his lap time. Let's have a look at Tuju and Mayor. Tuju into the 32s, 32.1. Mayor's lap time, 31.8. So Mayor may be catching Tuju through the middle part of this race. Weidman, another low one. He's on a good race so far. If he maintains this pace, he's on track for a personal best. As Tuju, another low two. Can Mayor keep this lap time under 32? Yes, he can, 31.9. As we look at Wang and Weidman leading the way, 31.5. That's a positive split. This is a crucial lap for him now. Can he bring it back down into those low ones? Tuju still leading. He's settled into a steady pace in these low 32s. 32.3 for Mayor. Mayor is at a crossroads now. Can he bring that lap time down? As we see Mayor and Tuju crossing over on that backstretch. Wang and Weidman. Weidman still in the 31s, but another positive split. Really has to focus here. He has 2 laps remaining. If he keeps losing tenths of a second here, it could cost him dearly at the end of the race. Jake Weidman, 2 laps remaining. 32.0. That's his first 32. As Takuya Tuju from Japan has 1 lap remaining. 32.6 his lap time. Mayor, 33.4. So Mayor may be starting a little ambitiously at the beginning of this race. Jake Weidman, 32.3. Positive split, but he's keeping those lap times down. If he can skate under 33 seconds here, he's on pace for a mid 6:30 time, as Tuju will finish with a final time of 6:37.09. Mayor, 6:45.16. Weidman will cross the line. Big personal best, 6:36.02. That's his first race under 6:40. It's a big barrier to break, as Shiwai Wang will finish up with a time of 6:48.50. Can you hear me, Davis? This is our next pair, Christopher Fiola and Matuz Ozarek. They're followed by Bowen Zwan and David Larue. This is Christopher Fiola and Matuz Ozarek. 200 meters in, 19.4, 19.3. Bowen Zwan and David Larue setting into the low 20s. Let's see what lap times these guys are settling into. Fiola, 29.9. So negative split on his second lap. 30.9 for Ozarek. Bowen and Larue in the low ones, low twos. So Larue bringing it down as well. So Fiola and David Larue starting conservative, but picking it up on their second lap. So Chris Fiola is chasing a personal best of 6:42.98. Fiola 30.8. Tuju Ozarek 31.4 was his lap time. As we see Fiola, he's finding those low 31s. Ozarek and Bowen in the mid 31s, and Larue in the low 32s. Have a look at Bowen's Wang coming through. He's got a slight lead over David Larue. 31.5 his lap time, 31.9 for Larue. Let's have a look at them as they come through. David Larue's personal best is a 6:43.98. And a negative split for him. He's now coming close to matching the pace of Bowen Zwang. Zwang, who started faster though, has about a 20-meter lead on him. As Fiola and Ozarek will come around the home stretch. Fiola still in the low 31s, 32.4 for Ozarek. Notice the skaters keep their hands on their back, trying to preserve their energy throughout the 5K. They also look for very even, long, and efficient strides. And this is Bowen and Larue. Larue now down to the low ones. He's gaining ground on Zwan Bowen through the middle part of this race. Only 2 laps ago, Bowen Zwan went over the top of him. Christopher Fiola, meanwhile, having a great race, 31.3 still. Ozarek 32.8. Get a look at Matuz Ozarek coming around. And this is Larue and Bowen. Larue now taking the lead. Still negative splitting into the low 31s. Very smartly raced race for him. Fiola 31.5. 33.0 for Ozarek. And Fiola will come through with 2 laps remaining. His lap time slipping a little bit, 32.6. Ozarek 33.1. So Chris Fiola on pace for personal best if he can keep these lap times down. David Larue with 2 laps to go, 31.4. He's aiming for a personal best. You see Fiola on that backstretch. Sorry, that is Larue on the backstretch with Zwan. Bell lap for Chris Fiola into the 33s. He's on the backstretch. 1 corner remaining for Chris Fiola in this 5,000 meter race, 12 and a half laps. He's now coming into the home stretch. Chris Fiola will finish up with a final time of 6:38.47. That's a personal best for him. It's his first time under 6:40. David Larue can keep this lap under a 32 second. He will skate under 6:40 as well, and he just misses it. 6:40.02. Still a personal best for him. 6:48.53 for Ozarek, and Bowen finishes up with a 6:51.16. As we look at our next race, this is the 9th quartet. The first pair of the quartet will feature Tyson Langlaar from Manitoba in the inner lane and Chenlong Zhu from China in the outer. They'll be followed by Thomas Ranasto from Finland and Hongli Wang from China. This is Langlaar and Zoo underway. Opening splits in the low 20s. Ranasto and Wang also starting off around that pace. Wang a little bit quicker, 19.6. So let's have a look at those first laps for Langlaar and Zoo. 31.0 is Langlaar's time. 30.1 for Zoo. So Zoo trying to start quick. Langlaar's personal best is 6:44.35. He will be wanting to match Larue and Fiola and Weidman with personal bests. He'll be aiming to drop under that 6:40 barrier. His next lap time, 30.7 for Langlaar, 30.4 for Zoo, 32.1 for Ranasto, and 31.0 for Wang. As we have a look at Wang coming through, 31.4 his lap time. Ranasto, 33.3. So Langlaar in the low ones. Chenlong Zhu, who started in the low zeros, has now positive split through 1,800 meters up into the 33s. So a little ambitious, his start. Wang is still on the mid 31s. And he's still looking strong through these corners. Langlaar mid 31s as well. He's doing a good job. In these long distance races, most of the speed is built in the corners. On the straightaways, the athletes do more gliding to maintain that speed. Hongli Wang holding on to those mid-31s. Langlaar, negative split on that last one. 31-2. Can he keep that going? As he'll come around to the home stretch. 5 laps remaining. Under halfway to go in this 12.5 lap race. Tyson Langlaar still in the low ones. Usually a smart move in the 5K to start a little bit slower and build down through negative splits in the middle of the race into faster and faster times. Chen Zoo really falling apart, 37.46. Wang still on the mid-31s. As Langlaar will come through, 31.5. He is catching Thomas Renasto of the other pair. As Wang will come through, 31.7. This is really a race between Hongli Wang and Tyson Langlaar. They're on pace for a mid 6:30 time right now. If they can maintain their pace. As Langlaar comes through now on the backstretch. Still in the 31s. Crucial point of the race for him right now. If he drops into the 32s, he's losing a second a lap on his goal. Wang still looking good. Chen Zoo's lap time's in the 37s now. As Langlaar into the 32s. But still moving his legs dynamically. He has 1 lap remaining as he comes around the home stretch. He's racing Wang, who's half a lap behind in the other pair. We've lost Wang's time because of the number of skaters all over the ice here. As Tyson Langlaar has 1 lap to go. He has to keep this lap time under a mid 33 to stay under 6:40. As Langlaar will come to the finish. Did he do it? 6:39.93, just squeaking under 6:40. That is a 5-second personal best for Tyson Langlaar. As Wang will now finish up. His final time, 6:40.05. Just missing Tyson Langlaar's time. That was a close race between those two. And now we will wait for Thomas Renasto and Zhu Chenlong to finish up. This is Zhu skating leisurely to the finish. He has 1 more lap. Tyson Langlaar lapped him. And it looks like Chen Zhu did not finish that race. He had 1 lap to go, but he just stood up on the backstretch. Moving on, this is our last quartet before an ice preparation. Ethan Seperin from the United States in the inner lane. He's racing Stangland from Norway in the outer. Behind them in the second pair of this quad are Stephen Hartman from the United States and Cooper Emin from Nova Scotia. First pair is underway. So that's Seperin and Stangland underway. Behind them, Stephen Hartman and Cooper Eamon just started. So Seperin and Stangland, opening splits 19.7 and 20.4. As we await the first lap times from all four skaters, Seperin and Stangland will come around now. Seperin, low 31, Stangland, low 30. Hartman and Eamon's first lap times, 31.3 and 31.6. As Seperin picks up his second lap, Stangland still in the low O's. Ambitious start for both athletes. Their personal bests are 6:46 for Stangland and 6:47 for Seperin. So if they maintain this low 30 lap pace, they would be setting themselves up for massive personal bests. Likely, though, that they're just starting a little too quick. Seperin 31.0, 30.5 for Stangland. Hartman and Eamon settling into the 32s. Maybe a little more realistic from the second pair of this quad. As Vettel Stangland keeping that lap time under 31. But he's starting to positive split. Seperin doing a good job. High O's, low ones. If he maintains that, he'll be on pace for a good PB. Hartman comes through 32.6. Eamon 32.8. So steady mid to high 32s for Hartman and Eamon. Hartman's personal best is a 6:48.61. Eamon 6:47.07. So a well-matched quad here. All four athletes have an opportunity to skate a personal best. As Hartman will come through 32.5, 32.5 for Eamon as well. Negative split for both skaters. And Seperin and Stangland in the high O's. Perhaps I spoke too soon. They are maintaining that pace. That would put them, if they maintain these high O's, they would be on pace for a low 6:30. That would be a big personal best. You may notice all four skaters are bunched together now. They are, in fact, two separate races. What has happened is that the first pair is skating a little bit faster than the second pair, and so are catching them as they go around the corner. And that's a great shot, all four skaters on the same straightaway. As we see Hartman's lap time, 33.7, 33.8 for Eamon. Both skaters slowing down a little bit. 30.4 for Ethan Seperin. That is a big negative split. Vettel Stangland losing almost a second on that last one. Skaters have to be careful not to draft, because that can get them disqualified if they stay behind a skater in a different pair. As we look at some lap times, Hartman letting it go a little bit. 34.3. Eamon still in the 32s. 32.9. Seperin and Stangland now into the 31s. So those low O's were maybe a little quick. As long as they can prevent the big positive splits, that banked time may benefit them at the end of this race. Seperin and Stangland will come through. They have 2 laps remaining. 3 to go for Hartman and Eamon. All skaters are chasing a 6:45. That would be a personal best for all 4 skaters. Seperin and Stangland now into the 32s. 1 lap remaining. This is the bell lap for our first pair. That's the white and red armbands. 2 laps remaining for the second pair, blue and yellow. So we look on the backstretch there. It looks like Seperin will take the first pair. He's going to try negative split this last one. Hands on his knees as he comes around this last corner. The long 5K down the home stretch. Eric Seperin, Vettel Stangland, they will finish up. 6:38.40 for Eric Ethan Seperin. That is a big personal best. 6:39.42 for Stangland. Another big PB. Stephen Hartman and Cooper Eamon have 1 lap to go now. This is Eamon finishing on the outer lane. Hartman finishing on the inner. As Cooper Eamon drives down the home stretch. He will kick the line. His final time, 6:54.80. Hartman will finish up with a time of 6:59.91. And that wraps up our first group of men's 5,000 meters. We will now pause for an ice flood. We will be back at 10:35 with quad number 11. Stay tuned for 10 more quads to come in the men's 5,000 meter. We will return to racing at 10:35.